Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibrations so you can live your best life. Let's talk today about the divine masculine and what does the ideal man look like. So that's how I wanted to start this, but I am sure that the conversation is going to evolve into more of a conversation around what the divine masculine can look like in all of us. And these conversations are always interesting to try to navigate because in some cases we may be talking about someone who identifies as a masculine versus someone who has the masculine in them, which we all do. So we will just leave it there and understand that this conversation can kind of cross in and out of those two arenas. Okay. Before I do, I want to remind you the New Earth Construction Team community is open. I would absolutely love to welcome you in. The community is small and intimate right now, and that is a perfect place to come in. If you come in the next month or two, you're going to be considered a founding member and you will be grandfathered in at an extremely affordable price. We are doing things weekly. We have anywhere from live brain spotting sessions that will help you remove trauma or abundance blocks. We also have tips on marketing and online business and how to step into your purpose. And there's all sorts of fun things. So if you are a seeker, if you are a light worker, if you are someone who is purpose-driven, if you are a purpose-driven or an aspiring purpose-driven entrepreneur, this is the place for you to be. We will help you remove the blocks that keep you from your purpose, that keep you from manifesting abundance. We'll remove the blocks that cause self-sabotage and overwhelm and people-pleasing and that fear of rejection, the fear of being seen. You might know up here what it'll take to make this business happen, but the subconscious brain, the blocks inside of you won't seem to let you move forward. If that's you, this is the place to be. We will cover all of the things, like I said, to remove the blocks, identify your life purpose, and help you manifest abundance through your own business or however you envision that, so that you can be part of creating heaven on earth. So we would love to see you there. There's a link below to join us. All right, so what does the ideal man look like? So if you followed me for a while, you know I did a video a while back, and I even hesitated. I've thought about taking it down a couple of times because it was more of just this conversation around, I know there's something emerging. There's something here. There's something more than what's being talked about in the spiritual communities. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it at the time. And that video was designed to prompt a conversation, which didn't end up happening on YouTube, but ended up happening in, or is really ongoing in the New Earth Construction Team community. And so there's some more clarity around that coming through. And I think part of that is because I have traditionally, because I market also through Facebook, I've traditionally worked with women. Most of my coaching clients have been women. But what I'm seeing on my YouTube analytics is that the vast majority of the viewers are men, which I find really fascinating and interesting. And even after speaking with more men, I do offer a free 30-minute session, also linked below, that are coming through YouTube. I'm starting to see more of what is being asked of me to see in the vein of how we support the divine masculine going forward. And again, I will clarify that may mean that you are a man, that may mean that you identify as masculine, that may mean that you are a woman who also is working through what her divine masculine aspect should look like, right? That we all have feminine and masculine in us. Many times as someone who is especially a purpose-driven entrepreneur, or someone who has, perfectionist tendencies, or even someone who's experienced complex trauma, or the perception of not feeling safe, seen, heard, cared for, or loved at any point in your life, you can have a overly dominant masculine aspect. It's all driven, not all. You will have a strong doing element to your personality, a strong control element to your personality, a strong desire to accomplish and achieve. And so what that means is the masculine aspect of you is dominating the feminine aspect of you, right? So you are predominantly in your masculine energy instead of being balanced in your masculine and feminine energy. Another way to say that is Masculine is very controlling. It can be very hypervigilant. It usually is some sort of resistant energy that ends up blocking you from the thing that you seek. Whereas a feminine energy is more relaxed, more open, flowing, receiving, allowing, magnetizing. Now, our culture is predominantly masculine globally. And I can't speak for every country, but for the major countries that we're all well aware of, we are seeing an overemphasis of masculine, controlling, dominant energy. And so collectively, as a globe, as a world, as planet Earth, we are being asked to rebalance. Now, what I often find, especially in the political realm, you will see, and I'm not going to talk politics, but the point is the pendulum swing. We will see it go from one extreme to the other. And then when that other swing is too much, it's becoming unbalanced again, we will see a swing back. So that may happen. We may need to see a swing to a predominantly feminine energy. Of course, that is, I'm speculating, and you can sense my hesitation. I don't even want to go into that. Ideally, we're just going to start to balance, right? So let's work towards balance and let the rest figure itself out. We need to be here and now, right? So what does that look like? What I started with, as far as search or research for this video, I started with that question: what does the ideal man look like? And I was looking for what our current society would say a good man looks like, characteristics that women look for according to Men's Health magazine. None of which will be a surprise, but it's important to kind of understand where we are and to help us bridge that gap to where we're trying to go. So Men's Health magazine would say that women rank things like faithfulness, dependability, kindness, patience, caring, humor, intelligence, enthusiastic pursuit, that might be my interpretation of what they said, confidence, listening, romance, being good in bed, helping around the house, being a good provider, being stylish or attractive, and muscular is how they positioned it, which was interesting because only 12% of women look for fitness, but they look for being muscular. So that's where we're at, right? That's how our current society in the US especially, how they would define a good man. And I do agree with some of these things, that some of these characteristics are still going to be part of what I personally, as a seeker or a purpose-driven entrepreneur, look for, but there are more. And this is really what was driving the desire for this conversation. And I would say that there probably isn't really anything on the list that I would say we no longer will look for. I will say I think that there needs to be, and I want to be careful because I'm not suggesting to others what you should desire, but rather for me personally, putting the pressure on the masculine to be the provider, the sole provider, really seems to put an unnecessary level of pressure on the masculine. That it is that balance of masculine and feminine that really allows us to step into flow and into abundance and that support from the divine. And so to put that burden solely on the masculine is detrimental from the perspective of my position in this moment, as well as those who I have served or had the privilege of being a parent of. I will also say that the thing that's not listed on this list, that's kind of the unspoken, unfortunate expectation of the man, is that being a provider can also mean being protective, right? That there is a physical difference in our bodies from the masculine to the feminine, whereas they are provided more strength, more ability to swing an axe or to protect. And yet that has been confused with that the suggestion is that they should be strong and they should be protective, and that's fine. I think that there is a physical ability to do that, and that's relatively undeniable. Relatively speaking, of course, depending on the person. But this has also come with being tough and not showing emotion. Being strong somehow means, and it goes down that vein of toxic masculinity, that you're gruff and you're harsh and you crack jokes at the expense of others. And that's not attractive. I'm sorry, I'm not sure who decided that was, but it certainly wasn't a woman, not a feminine, we'll say. Right? So things like faithfulness, dependability, kindness, patience, caring, those are almost opposed to this gruff and rough kind of man, right? So I would like to propose a new perspective, because from my position as someone who understands mental health, as someone who understands biologically the happenings in the body when we choose a positive versus a negative approach to life, as someone who has raised a son, that there are characteristics that are extremely attractive that are being hidden or suppressed or have historically been deemed wrong, that in a seeker's shoes, in a purpose-driven entrepreneur's shoes, are extremely attractive and unfortunately getting lost. And I'll stop hinting around the bush here. To me, one of the most attractive characteristics of a man is their sensitivity. That as a mother, I remember the moment where I had a little boy and I realized he's soft, he's gentle, he's tender. And I never understood that about men until I had a child who was unaltered by society at that point. That was his true nature. And you'll hear women joke about the man cold. That we as women, we get sick and, we have to push through, so we do. But when a man gets sick, he needs more. He needs tenderness. He needs loving care. He needs a warm hug. And we have try being the operative word here, to program that out of them. And that is the worst possible thing we could do, because that is their most beautiful aspect. That is what I find most attractive. When a man shows up in a session with me and he is willing to cry, he's willing to say, I feel this, I need this. That takes more strength. That takes more bravery than any shell of a tough and rough, gruff kind of guy can bring to the table. That in fact, when I see somebody disguising their emotions or trying to prove they're tough, they don't cry, they don't feel, what I see is a hard shell that is impenetrable, that I cannot be of service to. So it is the vulnerability, the self-awareness, the ability to express emotions, the ability to cry. And I will say this, I'm not asking for emoting, right? Women like to emote. There is a difference between feeling and recognizing what you feel and emoting, right? That's different. That's not what we're talking about here. That it takes a really strong man to show up 100% authentic, to be vulnerable. It takes more strength to do that than it does to suppress. It's more attractive, it's more appealing, because it's a clear demonstration of strength. To be disciplined enough to be self-aware, to recognize our habit and our pattern to deflect or to blame or to be in victimhood, to distract, to avoid. That takes true strength. The discipline, the willingness, the dedication to go at the root of that weed, to look at it, to go headlong into the valley, the darkness, the depths of the shadow, to say, I'm not taking it anymore. To hell with what everybody else told me I was supposed to do. This is what I need. This is what I know I must do. and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to show up and I'm going to ask for it and I'm going to do it. The self-honesty that's required there, I might melt. Integrity, authenticity, objectivity, the growth mindset, the openness to say, maybe I don't have it all figured out and that's okay. There's strength in that. That's real power. That's really attractive, right? Optimism. Instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater and just being like, the world's screwed and this is how it is and fuck it all. Ooh, not supposed to say that. But the optimism, the willingness to see life as happening for us and not to us. It's not Pollyannish. Life really is happening for us and not to us. And in fact, that's how we take power back. Again, true strength. That's the true masculine. Gratitude for what is, even when it's not what we wanted it to be. It's not ideal. Gratitude for the beauty that is all around us, even in the little things. A willingness to let go of all of the beliefs that have been held to. A willingness to let go of the need to defend the ego, a need to prove, no, I'm right. No, I'm right. A willingness to let go of that hyper defensiveness, to say, okay, obviously I don't have it figured all out. I don't have it all figured out, and I'm open to receiving from whomever the universe divines is necessary to bring it to me. It doesn't mean subversive, it doesn't mean passive, it doesn't mean a doormat, but it just means being open and willing to let go of what was assumed and a willingness to discern for yourself what new beliefs or perspectives or positions might need to come in. Of course, that will require perseverance. That this journey has its ups and downs, its peaks and valleys, and as we go through the valley, it's that perseverant attitude that says, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go through this, and I know that on the other side is something amazing. I realize that it's going to get dark down in that valley. It's going to seem confusing, but it is the perseverant one who is willing to push through and find the treasure on the other side. Of course, once you reach that treasure, of course, altruism, generosity is highly, highly attractive. Being willing to give back as soon as you can, even if you're not in all of the abundance that you could be. It's that mutual give and take. It is reciprocity. It is what I'm seeing is the torus field. It is that it's mutual give and take. There's a term I've used in the past and it's escaping me right now. It is the polar opposites where we attract and repel, things come and go. It's a reciprocal relationship. There we go. Where we're nurturing each other. No one is left sucked dry because we are constantly feeding each other. That can only come through altruism and generosity. Something else I find extremely necessary and very appealing is a willingness to listen, just to hold space. It's been said before, right? Sometimes men feel like their ability to provide for, to be the support or the protective one comes from solving problems. But sometimes it really is just listening. And there's more in addition to what's been talked about before, is in that listening, it's a non-judgment. That's where the unconditional love comes in. Holding space means just, I see you for whatever you are, however you are showing up, whatever you say, whatever you need, whatever you do, I will not judge you. And I will love you no matter what. And of course, that can only come from a person who's also doing that for themselves. The resistance and the judgment that we project on ourselves ends up being inadvertently projected on others. So of course, we have to show up for ourselves. And that is absolutely critical. It's the foundation for becoming the divine masculine, to reaching the highest potential for the divine masculine energy that is available to all of us. Of course, that also comes with healthy boundaries, which means asking for what you need, expressing what you need, showing up for yourself when your needs are not being met, and having that firm boundary and saying, this is not okay. Of course, nonviolent communication is also necessary. I did a video on that if you want to check that out, where we show up in a way for ourselves as well as for others by saying, this is how I'm receiving this situation. This is how I'm experiencing this. This is what it's doing inside of me right now. Now, I recognize that it may be partially my story, it may be partially my triggers, but this is how I'm feeling. And this is what I need in this moment. This is what I'm also able to give you. And I understand that when it is my own issue, my own trigger, I'm also willing to take the time to step back and do the work on myself so that I can show up for you fully. And here, if you are willing, here's what I need from you. Here's how you can meet me in the middle. That many times when we are passive and we don't show up for ourselves for years and years on end, we want to have that aggressive approach. You're not doing this for me. It's all your fault. But when we can show up and we can own our role in it, we can ask for what we need, we can make a suggestion to the other and how they can show up for us. And we can make a commitment to how we are going to do our own portion of the work. That's how we have healthy boundaries. That's how we take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. That's how we show up for ourselves so that we can hold space for others. And then finally, celebrate the other. That recognize in those moments where you feel jealousy or you feel resentment towards the others, when something good is happening for them, that's something in you that says, I have a desire for that. It's helping to motivate you towards that thing to accomplish it for yourself. That if we can't celebrate the other, if the masculine can't celebrate the feminine within ourselves, if the masculine can't celebrate the feminine externally, we are the yin and yang. We are made for each other. We cannot be whole and complete without balancing this within ourselves and within our relationships. And so what all of this research and thinking and pondering has brought up for me is also how I want to shift the way I show up for the masculine. That there is more of a desire now than ever to expand my work into supporting the masculine as well, instead of just women. Part of this comes from a beautiful relationship that I have with my therapist, where for the first time in my life, a man has showed up for me in a way that I have never experienced before. And that was tremendously healing for me. But I also see how, as I show up for the masculine who shows up in my work, in my practice, as my clients, how I can be an example of what they needed and maybe didn't receive earlier in their life. And so I'm renewing my commitment to holding space, not just for the feminine, but also for the masculine. To show up unconditionally loving. That no matter who you are, no matter where you've come from, no matter what you have done, no matter what mistakes you have made, no matter what you said to me yesterday, I will not judge you. And I will only have love and understanding and compassion. That every person and everything they do comes from a desire to survive, a desire to be loved, a desire to be accepted, a desire to be enough, to be valued, to feel valuable. And that because we are all one, because we are collectively in this together, we have all been there. Every single person is acting from that place of desire for love and acceptance and support. Every single person is just trying to survive, just trying to make it out, not just alive, but loved, healthy, whole, healed, complete. That it is a renewed commitment from me to my community, to the masculine in general, to the world, and to everyone that I ever encounter, even in my daily life, to honor your needs, to find that level of compassion, that understanding that says, I understand. You are just trying to get your needs met the same way the rest of us are. Of course, that'll be done with boundaries. I will not self-sacrifice. That is not part of this deal. But to embrace and encourage the masculine sensitivity. To continue to show up in a way that reminds you that that beautiful, soft, kind, tender-hearted part of you that just wants to be loved and held is one of my favorite parts of you. I want to be one of the leaders in the feminine energy that says, please show up vulnerable. Please let me see your sensitivity, because it is one of the best parts of you. And that almost brings tears to my eyes. That's what I need. The part of you that you are hiding is the part of you that we need most. That's what's missing. My whole body is responding to that. Solar plexus is excited. This is powerful, guys. That term wants to come out of my mouth, so I'm going to let it out. This is powerful, guys. I don't know if I'm just talking to guys or the masculine or whatever, but that's the missing piece. The vulnerability, the sensitivity, the softness. That's the doorway to your authenticity. That's the doorway to your power. It's been really clear to me coming through in many different ways, whether it's this video or others, but emotion is powerful. Emotion is creation. Emotion is different than feeling. Emotion comes from the body. Emotion is our vibration. It is our frequency. It is our attraction point. They have tried to take that away from you. And if ever you felt a sense of anger, dare I say, aggression, let it be towards that. Screw you, you're not taking that away from me anymore. I will feel. I will allow this part of me to come through. And finally, it is my commitment to this community, to the masculine energy collectively, to be a safe place where you can be authentic, all that you are, without judgment, consistently, without fail. However you feel it is necessary or authentic for you to show up. And I say that partially for my community, but also for any of the feminine who actually made it to this point in the video. This is how we need to shift our approach towards the masculine. No more of this toughen up buttercup attitude. They're soft, they're gentle, and they need us to nurture them. And with that, it feels complete. I love you all so, so much. And if you are looking for this kind of support, I am here for you. We also have the New Earth Construction team. I would love to welcome you in and continue this conversation with you there. You are not meant to do it alone, especially in this type of wound. If you have the mother wound, if you are looking to find a safe place to allow that soft side of you to come through, you're going to need to do that with someone else. And a beautiful community is waiting to welcome you with open arms. That, or come work with me individually. One-on-one. All right, I love you, my friends, and I will see you on the next video. Please do make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you next time. Take care.